First of all, hi, and thank you so much for taking the time. And I'm sorry about the mix-up of last week.
No,
How are
no
you doing
problem.
over there?
Doing great, doing great. It's early in the day here, so 1 o'clock. So just doing great. I love those interview days. Just I get to relax and just talk about the new music, and I got myself a few beers here, so that's what I do. And I'm very happy about the reaction people have with the new music, the new album. So it's been a blast.
Yeah, that's actually interesting because most artists actually don't really like these promo days and talking and, answering the same questions all the time.
Well, it's a change of pace for me because I work in the studio a lot. Like most of my days consist of like working on music and all, and I focus a lot, and I when my days end, I'm really tired and burnt out. And for me, those interviews are like a breeze. I really like it. Like so, I don't have too many worries right now. Just talking and enjoying life.
Well, we're obviously here to talk about your upcoming album, Unconquered. How are you feeling about the upcoming release?
I think it's very awesome to see the amount of love we're getting for this new album from all over the world. Because sometimes it seems like we'll put out a new record, and like Europe's like, "Wow, this is great," while the U.S. is like, "I don't like it too much," or vice versa. But this time around, this seems to be like a worldwide thing where everybody's agreeing that it's a good album, and it's glad. It's, I'm glad to see that, and I'm happy that it's a reward for the way we chose to do things, the way we wrote things, and it's very satisfying to see that.
Would you? Because it's actually interesting. I never really thought about the European market and the American market that had such a different opinion. How would you say the American music scene usually, like what kind of music are they mostly interested in?
I feel it's different markets, and I don't know what fuses the opinions of people in different corners of the world, but I feel like usually whatever American people like, it seems to be in line with what the UK people likes for whatever reason, and then the rest of the world is different. And what the European likes usually aligns with what South American likes and what Canadian people like. So it's kind of like a different vibe, and then you
Yeah.
got Asia and Japan and all that in their own world as well.
Yeah, that's interesting. Now let's get back to the album. Let me first start off by asking something about the album cover because when I looked at your whole discography and I saw all the images of the cover art, it
Hmm.
felt really different, and it made me actually wonder if this new album feels like a new start for you guys or a new chapter in your history.
Yeah, I mean, the album cover, we worked with Blake that does the cover art for In Flames and all that. It's our first time working with him, and the idea was to bring back the art piece that we used to have on some of our albums that we put out in a successful era of the band, and we feel that we wanted to bring back the beast. But I was against that idea, but the rest of the guys were for that idea. And what changed my mind about it was when I saw the art from Blake, and I was like, man, this is perfect. This is the artwork. So I called Mauricio and the other guy. Said like, yeah, okay, you won me over on that one.
Why were you initially against it?
Uh, I just I like to do new things, and I usually like to leave the stuff that's in the past, and just I live for the present and I live for the future, and I always want to keep uh, walking towards something new and exciting. And I felt like bringing back an old idea wasn't exciting to me. It was just a bit rehashed sounding, but the way this was presented, I love it. It's kind of has a vintage vibe, but is very futuristic at the same time. It's perfect for the imagery of the music. It represents it well. And it's also perfect for the album title, Unconquered. It just ties in everything together nicely. And I really happy about it. So, and so far we seem to have good comments on it as well.
2 weeks ago, you also released the first single, or no, actually 3 weeks ago, since I wrote these questions last week. But a lot of comments were really positive, and everyone was kind of surprised by the heaviness of the song. And Loudwire also described it as your heaviest song ever. How have the reactions been so far, and what do you think about the song? Like, do you also think it's your heaviest?
I don't know if it's our heaviest track ever, but it's definitely a powerful track, and it's deep, has a deep meaning, and it's a track that represents well the new album. So if you like this song, most likely you're gonna like the other songs on the record. So it's a positive point for us, because we were looking at different tracks we wanted to showcase first, and to try to convince people to push play and to listen to this. And I think the Kill Shot was a great choice for that, because it's a well-rounded track. And yeah, I think this is really heavy sounding. This new album is like, from beginning to the end, one of the big reasons why it sounds so heavy compared to what we used to do before is I'm playing a 7-string guitar on this record versus 6 strings on the previous ones. And what it does is it adds a lower range of notes that I can now reach, and a new palette of sounds and textures that I can add to the music. And it's, to me, very exciting and new. And at the same time, it brings a whole new level of heaviness to the band that we didn't have before. So, yeah, in many ways, it's one of the reasons why it sounds this heavy.
Why did you decide to start using the 7-string? Is it something you always wanted to try for Kataklysm, or is it just something you purchased and then thought, like, oh, yeah, why not use it?
I had the idea of bringing it in a few albums back, but I was holding on to it because we weren't sure about changing a winning formula that already works for us. And it's like sometimes you do a change like that, and fans don't like it. But for me personally, the timing was right, because the technology of those guitars today is so much better than the first models that came out 10 years ago. So if you have like, for instance, in my case, I have a 7-string guitar, the tuning is perfect, and the way it feels is no different than playing a 6-string. It's just an extra string, and the way they're built is amazing nowadays. So that convinced me. But then when I started writing the new music and I showed the guys in the band, look, this is what it could be, and it was like, int, check this out. And everyone agreed that it was the right move for Kataklysm, and we chose to go for it. And now I'm excited to bring this live on the next concerts.
Yeah, one of the things that I noticed while listening to the album is that the production feels also a little bit different. I'm not sure if it's the 7-string guitar that makes it sound different as well, but were there other things that you did different production-wise in comparison to Meditations?
Well, this album, we wrote most of the songs was me and Maurizio, the singer, because we used to write this way back when we started the band. And we wanted kind of to go back to that way of doing things on this one. So we had a vision of what we wanted this album to be. So we started writing together a lot. And the album is kind of a testament to the chemistry we have together as artists. So you can feel the magic on it. So that's the first thing that's different, because the last few albums we wrote as a band more, but the results were great as well. Like I'm not denying that, but just I like working with Mauricio in the sense that I think we have something special together. So we wrote it like that, and then the 7-string adds to the different sounds for sure. And then another thing we did different was working for the mixing part of the record with Colin Richardson, which is one of my favorite mixers ever for metal. And he was retired. He's a guy in the 60s that used to work on many classic albums back in the 80s and 90s. And he did some of my favorite records mix. So by getting him to agree to do this for us, I was so excited to bring our music to that level of heaviness and professionalism that he brings to a production. So he brought some extra magic and balls to it for sure. And I'm very happy about that. And hopefully he wants to still work with us on the next one.
It sounds like you kind of made him do it in a way since he's retired as well. But I guess you guys had like a lot of fun as well together.
Oh yeah, for sure. So there's no magic recipes to do an album, but for us, we feel we achieved some sort of magic on this one, and from all the angles that we chose to do things, and it was also not all premeditated. It was a lot of it was spontaneous, and it just kind of happened, and we rolled with it. But I definitely feel it, and I hope that we're gonna get a lot more reaction to it. What I want to achieve, I guess, what I want to say is that we're an old band. We've been doing this for like almost 30 years now, but we're still young at heart, and we're not that old in the sense that we started doing this when we were kids. So we're still in prime ages right now to perform in a band, and I feel we finally managed to capture what we're trying to express as a band within our music and the lyrics and all that, and everything came together perfectly on this new album. So we're trying to perfect the recipe of all that, and at the same time go with the flow, and hopefully we keep going towards that trajectory we're on, I guess.
It sounds at least like everything went smooth. Were there any sort of challenges while you were creating this album, or did everything go perfectly?
Everything went perfectly, but the challenges are more so personal, because we always add some more things in our music, and it's little elements here and there, and sometimes they sound easy to listen to, but they're not that easy to actually perform and get it done right. So there's a lot of stuff that we all worked our asses off from the recording aspect. Like every member of the band, we pushed ourselves to 200 on this one. We were all very exhausted at the end of this, but exhausted in a good way. You know, we're like, okay, we knew we did something good, and you hear it on it, you feel it on it. And the challenges were in that sense. It was like, okay, you see this mountain of stuff ahead of you, and just start walking, and you want to get it done, and you want to go all the way to the top, and that's how we've approached this record.
Would you say you guys are like perfectionists as well, which makes everything a little bit harder, I guess? Or
yeah, we definitely make it on ourselves. There's no denying that, but the results are there. So I sometimes, well, it's on other albums. Sometimes it doesn't always work out that way, because you always push and strive for perfection, but sometimes you get it done, and you think you did the right choices, and then you listen to the results, and you're like, man, it could be better here and there, and but you live with it, and it's another part of being an artist. You live with the choices you make and the work that you do. But I stand behind every single album we did in our career, and because for the fact that it was the best thing we could ever do at that point in time, and this one is no different. But I just feel like we're getting this momentum right now that is very awesome, and it's thanks to the results of the music and the album itself. So it's very exciting to see.
Would you say the way you guys work now for this album, is that something you would like to continue in the future as well for the next one, or you don't know
Yeah,
yet
for
yet?
sure, for sure. I like the way we're doing things. I was almost sad that we had to stop writing because we got to the end and we're like, okay, we have all the songs done. And I was like, man, I want to have more to say. I want to keep going, but I'm kind of already into the mode of writing because of this whole pandemic thing, and we're home and I'm kind of like already putting ideas together for the future. But at the same time, we want to promote this great album we just did, and we want to push it as hard as we can to make sure people get to hear it. And we want to of course tour for it as soon as the world reopens, because that's another challenge we're facing right now.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my questions, of course, because of course you want to play the new material, but I'm not sure how feasible it is, and no one really knows what's going to happen at the moment, I guess.
Exactly, everything we had planned for this year got postponed to next year. And the other thing was we had a little bit of a fight with the labels and people involved in this album. They wanted us to push it to next year as well, because they're saying, don't release it now, it's a bad idea. The music's too good to just drop it like that. Wait till times are better. But we as a band, we finished working on the record in last December, and we thought it was way too long to wait another year for this. And we feel that also the people need music right now. People need art. People need something to uh, like make their days better. And I find releasing a new album now is perfect for that, just for that fact. And even if it costs us a few sales because we could have waited a little longer, who cares? Like, or the point as a band is just to uh, connect with people and help people with our music, and that's the plan. And also we're all excited about releasing it, so we wanted to release it now, not wait.
Yeah, and I guess, I mean, people also have more time to listen to music, and they also want to support their bands and buy more merch, maybe, or some. Is that
Yeah,
something?
I mean, it's very welcome. Like, I mean, it helps for sure. We're for, like, as musicians, we depend on the live concerts income to survive, and now we don't have that income, but we feel lucky because Cataclysm, we're in a position where we can afford to take a little break, so it's not the worst thing in the world right now to be relaxed at home, and I get to spend some time with my daughter is about to start school, if ever school starts. But I get to spend the last year that she's supposed to be home with her and spend some time with her, so that's great. And there's some positive about all that, like family time and things like that. But um, I'm also like I'm a recording engineer. I work on mixing music, mastering music, all that, and I have this my little studio here, and I do that full time when I'm not on tour. So what happens now is that a lot of musicians and artists are working on music because there's nothing else they can do. So I got a lot of jobs offered to me to work on different records right now, and I'm jumping on it with uh, both feet on, because I love doing that stuff, and it keeps me busy while we're not touring, and the income keeps coming in, so I'm not feeling this the devastation of this pandemic as much as others. So I'll be all right. But inside I miss playing live. I miss the connections we get with the fans, and I'm so anxious to play the new songs, bring the seventh string
Yeah.
on stage, and all that. I can't wait. So I hope things gets resolved like sooner than later, and I hope by next summer we can be on festivals again and touring the world, and have some sort of a sense of normalcy. I hope it comes back, but we'll see. Like, all we can do is wait and see how the everything progresses, and all the world leaders try to address this thing and all that, and the rules of do's and don'ts that comes with it, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and speaking of the pandemic, I thought it was a bit of a coincidence, of course, because you wrote everything before the pandemic, but there are
Yeah.
songs like Focus to Destroy You and When All Is Over that kind of fit really well into the current time frame. Is that something you guys discussed about? Like, should we have these tracks on the album, or are people going to think it's about Corona, or?
No, it's a good coincidence, but it really is because we had no idea when we wrote those songs. These songs were about more a subject that are personal to us, and we feel that as metalheads, we are older metalheads. We're in our 40s now, and we want to talk about stuff that's relevant to us in our lives, our current lives. We don't want to keep writing music for teenagers because that's not how we think. That's not how we feel as 40-year-olds, boys now. But we want to write stuff that matters to us, and that all these subjects are things that could be interpreted in our own lives that we feel about certain different things. There's a few things we touch here on this record, but uh, that's how we write music in general. But the pandemic happened, and then we've noticed that it kind of worked because we have, as a band, we have a very uplifting kind of message to our music, and I feel a lot of those songs are written in this way, and it works with the pandemic in a sense. Like, don't give up, keep going, keep walking, keep doing your thing. Unconquered, the album title, it ties all of that in. It's just we just be who you are and keep pushing forward, keep pushing through, and eventually good things will happen.
Yeah, I think that's a very, like, when you explain it like this, I think it might help a lot of people during these difficult times who are maybe feeling a little bit lonely as well.
Yeah,
So,
music helps. It helps me as well. I listen to a lot of music, different artists, and I, it makes me feel better. It makes my day better, and I hope this album does that for metalheads and helps a few people. And then would make me completely happy. And it's like the ultimate compliment for a band member to receive when somebody says like, "Hey, this song helped me in those difficult times," or this and that. And I find it's if it can help anybody out there, then it will make myself more complete as a human.
I was also wondering, the music video you guys shot, was it shot this year, like during the time that the pandemic also hit? And what was
It,
the general atmosphere, if it was?
it was right before, like, we went there this spring. We flew to Atlanta, and we planned to shoot this video. And it was funny. It was a bit chaotic because in the band we have two guys that live in the U.S. and two guys that live in Canada. And we flew to Atlanta to shoot that, but there was a huge snowstorm in Toronto that day, so the guys were stuck there and couldn't make it. So we were worried because when you organize things with a video crew, you cannot delay things too much. It's just it
Mhm.
has to happen there because everybody's there and waiting. So me and Mauricio were there, so we went to the bar and started drinking a little bit in the meantime. And then the other guys actually made it there, but a day later, super late in the day. So we drove to the airport, picked them up, and then drove to the location, which was 2 hours away in the woods, and got there like way late. And as soon as we got there, the crew was ready. We just put all the gear there and started filming. And then whatever moment that was, it's what you see on the video. But uh, when we were there in Atlanta that weekend is the first time we started hearing about the virus on TV. We were watching the news, and I was like talking to Mauricio. I think this thing might become bad because it doesn't look great. So from what we were seeing, so we went back home, and then all hell broke loose like the week after, and it was we got it done right in time because now it would not be possible to actually travel and do a video. So it was perfect timing, and hopefully we can manage to pull something together for the the few upcoming singles we want to release, because it's not possible for us to get together to film, but we're trying to get something done to have cool releases for the upcoming songs.
Yeah, and a lot of bands also are now kind of including fans as well in the videos and
Yeah,
stuff like that. So, well, there's many possibilities, I
yeah,
guess.
we're putting some ideas on the table right now and see what we could come up with that would be cool for the upcoming singles. And yeah, we just want to keep releasing cool stuff and keep people talking, and hopefully get into streaming this album and also buying physical copies. I know a lot of people don't buy them anymore, but it's still important for bands and the industry to keep buying a few copies, because then that's how you get the budget for the next record to be able to afford the big producers and the big studios and all that. So you're definitely helping the band if you buy a hard copy of the record. But I understand why you wouldn't, because I myself listen to only stream almost, like I listen to Apple Music a lot, Spotify, things like that, and I do. The only music I really buy is vinyls, because I have an old vinyl player at home, and it's kind of like almost a spiritual experience to put on the vinyl on there and listen to music that way, and that's what I enjoy. So whenever I support bands, I buy the vinyl, but that's me. I know a lot of people don't have a vinyl player, so and they prefer to buy different formats. So
Yeah.
to each his own, but it's definitely important to keep supporting music. It helps the artists and it helps the industry in general, especially in these difficult times.
Yeah, how do you actually see the future of the music and entertainment industry? Because I think a lot of key players also are maybe might get bankrupt, especially in like the festival scene and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean,
And
if he, I think the people are doing well. They stand on strong feet, and they're able to take the punch and the hit, so to speak. But the ones that are like barely making it, these are the ones that are in danger, and they're not gonna survive this whole wave. And if it keeps going beyond 2021, you're gonna see a lot of people quitting the business just because they cannot afford to be in it, and that's a sad reality. And I hope this doesn't happen, and I hope the world gets back to on its feet before that. But it's definitely a fragile ecosystem that's made of people that are passionate about music and arts, and they do this with you do this because you just love doing it. It's a way of life for you. So it includes everybody from every field of this art. So I hope for everybody's sake that things get better, and I hope that everyone sticks around, because when it does get better, I think fans will be more than happy to come back and support artists live and live music and all that. So I think I like to look at everything with a positive outlook and positive attitude, and I hope that everything will get back to normal soon, and we can keep doing what we do and best and enjoy life, you know.
Mhm. Well, yeah, our time is almost up, and I think that's like a nice way to wrap this up on somewhat of a positive note, at least. Do you have any last thoughts you would like to share with your fans and people watching this video?
A big thank you for the support over the years, for the people that have been following us for years, and then for the new ones joining in. A big thank you, a big welcome, and yeah, don't. I want to tell people to don't be afraid to push play on this new record, because we're an older band with 14 records now, and I would understand why somebody would say, I don't like these guys, or they always sound kind of like similar or whatever. Just I understand that train of thought, but please press play and check it out, because I think it's a good metal album for 220, and it 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 can help a lot of people and to whatever's going on, and just I hope people give it the chance and just try to listen to it and see what they think for themselves. And uh, I guess that's what I want to say. And big thank you to the Finnish fans, because we love playing Finland. We love touring with Finnish bands. They're the greatest guys around to have on tours. They always bring the party, and we love playing Finland a lot because it always turns into a big party, and it's a great country. And we feel it has a lot of similarity with Canada, just because of being in the north. We know
Yeah.
we know the advantages and the pain of being in such a place. A big thank you to you guys, and thank you for the interview and the time.